Let's move on to the next item. Mr. Flannigan, did you have something you wanted to raise on number 18?
This is brief. Hold on. This is brief, but in my ongoing reminders that the city of Austin has more than one school district. The program itself seems pretty great, but more than 10%, maybe closer to 20% now of the city is not AISD. And so if we're going to do projects or programs that apply to an entire district, which my reading of this program applies to the entire district, then we need to be thinking about how we provide city taxpayer dollars to services that are available to the whole city, not just contracting with a single school district. And again, just as I voted no on the swim program last week, and I'll be voting no on this one this week, it's not so much, it's really not at all that the program is bad, but as a policy matter moving forward, we need to ensure that when we're spending city tax dollars, we're providing programs to kids, if it's to disadvantaged communities, that we're opening it up to disadvantaged communities in all parts of the city where they exist. And if it's district-wide programming, that it's available to City of Austin kids all across the city. I just wanted to make that point, because I will keep bringing it up until these items start reading more broad.
And I think, Manager, this came up in the conversation about the tax swap issue when we were focusing on AISD, and we said we needed to have some way to make that equitable. So maybe it would be helpful if staff took a look at what that measurement would be, whether it's taxpayer dollars per child in the city, in the district, or something, so that, because I agree with Mr. Flannigan.
And as I said before, if we've got programs that are intended for low-income kids and we have a metric that makes it available to schools that have a certain percentage of low-income students, even if every single one of those qualifying schools is an AISD, I'm fine. But with a migration of suburban poverty and other concerns, as those programs evolve, there are low-income communities building in my district. And so at whatever point it becomes necessary for those programs to be available, I just want to ensure that as a city, we are thinking about all the kids in our city.
Can I just add, as generally speaking, AISD is the only school district that faces the level of recapture that it does. So while there are other school districts surround us, they don't deal with the same level of recapture that AISD. So they are better funded and able to help fund their low-income students, and that's one of the big problems. Is we send so much money back to the state, and we have our own kids that are low income that we can't fund. And so other school districts, I don't want it to be an apples to apples comparison here, because it's not.
And I appreciate that. It's why I'm bringing this up as an issue and I'm not fighting. But it's not our job to solve recapture as a city. It's the state's job to solve recapture. And I get very nervous when we start trying to solve problems we're not in a position to solve.
Manager.
We will begin looking at this. Many of these contracts with AISD are longstanding contracts, so this one actually only adds about $400 to the allocation, but we'll have to look at how we might be able to implement what you've asked us to look at.
And to be clear, for me, what I'm not ultimately looking for is just sending money to districts in an equal amount, because to me that sounds a lot like the thing that I've spoken against a lot in terms of districts, our council districts, and dividing up money. But if there are needs that hit a priority need element for us in the city, and that exists in districts other than AISD, then I would want us to be observant of that and make that part of the discussion.